Hello and welcome to today's video. So this time we're going to be taking a look at and cleaning my vintage pickups for the month of August and early September. And this includes my little trip to the Ironbridge bookshop in Shropshire. So without further ado, sit back, relax, and let's take a look. Okay then, so we'll start off with these little pile of pan books. So these I picked up, and just look at the spinach on these. Very, very nice. Look really nice and bright. And I did actually get these for, you could say, not a song, but they were pretty cheap, you know. And yeah, only like a couple of pounds a book is where it worked out at, including the postage. But I mainly got it for the copy of Dr. No there, which was one that I haven't got. Most of these are reprints, but I am putting together a set of James Bond later printings as like a reading set, and because I do intend doing a Fleming reread next year. I'm going to zap through the whole lot because it's been a while since I've read the original Fleming source material, and I absolutely loved them when I was growing up. I mean, I really did. I borrowed my dad's copies. They were all pans, and I just loved them to death. So I have got like a reading set on the go as well, but I do believe I have already got a double of Thunderball. In fact, it's this very edition here. So, but that's okay. As I said, it was just a little job lot that I bought. So that's all the. I said the majority of them are. In fact, I think they're all reprints. But I mainly wanted it for that copy of Dr. No there. Yeah, this is like the 12th printing of this one. So I'm not one of those collectors, but they do exist, who try and get every single edition of all the vintage Bond paperbacks. But that, I gotta say, that is a particularly nice one. If it was a tiny bit better, I'd probably keep it. But this was the lot that this was the book I actually wanted, because this is one of the jackets I didn't actually own. This is it's not perfect, but it's not a bad copy. It'll certainly do for the time being. It is a shame it's sort of been pinched on the spine there, but it's okay. It's still adequate for the collection. I'm not going to complain. As I said, it was an edition I didn't have with this particular cover. They're all original owner ones, so there's no sort of writing inside these. Although that's got some like cover marks, which we'll polish off when we do the polishing at the end. And we got a fair old batch of stuff to get through today. This was it's a really common pan book. And I believe there's no difference between this and the first edition cover that I've actually got. This one's the 9th printing. It was a huge seller, this one, for pan, and it turns up quite often. And I think it was it Audrey Hepburn? Yeah, Audrey Hepburn. Lovely Sam Peff cover there. And that'll probably end up in my box of swaps, but it's a nice one, a really nice perfect spine on it, which is lovely to see. Speaking of swaps, this is another great one. Really nice bright vibrant blue there, which is really nice. And this cover, although it's not credited by W. Francis Phillips, he does little elements of the story and puts them together into like a little vignette. Really nice cover. Is one of my favourite artists. And anyway, my doubles. So I am intending to put my double, third printing this, put my doubles. You may remember about almost 3 months ago, I did a video where I went through and I showed all my spare paperbacks, and that video went down extremely well, and I sold lots and lots of books. Oh, look at this. I sold lots and lots of books, and people were really pleased, and the books went around the world. And I believe they were cheap. That's a nice copy of Modesty Blaze as well. I'll probably keep that. I've got the first edition, but this is a really nice reprint. Look at this little pan 3 and 6 has come off there. Now, did that come out of the Agatha Christie? I think it might have, you know, because that isn't it in an unpriced state, and it was 3 and 6. So I have a feeling that went on there. So I'm going to slide that just in there for now. Although this was also 3 and 6, and there isn't a cover price on this one either. It's just on the back. But I think that sticker is more in line with that particular book. So anyway, they're all gone through. They'll just need a bit of a brushing off. I think, yeah, I think we'll do it as we go along this time round, just rather than waiting. I'll just give these all a brush, and then at the very end, I'll go through and polish what needs to be sort of polished. Yeah, so I'm very much looking to do another books for sale video, and I have added to the books that you saw last time, and I will be also revising the prices. I think that video has been viewed a couple of thousand times, and if anyone wanted anything from that at the prices stated, they probably would have seen it by now. So what I'll do, I'll have a little revision of the prices. They were really clean, actually. I'll have a little revision of the prices, and I'm going to do another load of do another like books for sale video. So as I've said in the past, my Patreon and channel members will have access to that video a whole week before it goes live on YouTube. So if you do want to get in and get first dibs at it, you can help support the channel at the same time, and you'll also have first dibs at getting the any books I've got spare, because as you know, I let stuff go really cheap. Literally books, old paperbacks from £1 up to a maximum of £5. This is one I was pleased to get. So I've got the second print of this, but I didn't have the first, and this is a nice copy of Shotgun by Ed McBain. So this will be a nice little addition to my my Ed McBain collection, and that's really nice copy of that one. Now, I picked up a bit of a job lot of non-fiction books, and there are some bits here that are probably a little bit past my cut-off point for collecting, so they may end up going in the swaps bin. We'll just have to see, but I believe all of these here were ones which I've either got or they're a bit too late for my my collecting period. But what I'll do, I'll give them a clean and compare them with the ones that I've got. So this one, for example, this is A386, and it's a reprint, and it's and I've got the original of it. It's not one that I need, so that literally just be in like a £1 clearance box, you know. Now this one needs a little bit of a repair, but this is a James Thurber, which once again is a reprint, but I'm going to give that bottom of the spine a little repair there. So I've got my screwdriver here, so I'm just going to use that to get a tiny little bit of glue into the bottom of the spine here, just enough to, I need a bit more than that, just enough to put that bottom of the spine glued back and stop it getting any worse. There we are, that looks a bit more like it's double layered. So let's get the first bit down like so. I'm going to need to put some more in for the second bit. Not quite as much, mind you, but there we are. There we are. Not perfect, but it's going to be a little filler for somebody. And there are fans of Thurber for sure. So that one's not bad. It just needs a bit of a polish, which we'll do in due course. This one is an arrow, and it's an arrow. It's what they call a grey arrow, and these sort of aped the pelicans in actual fact. So it was an Arrow's non-fiction line. Hardly ever see them, to be honest. I've no real desire to collect them myself. In fact, I don't really collect vintage Arrow. I've got a smattering of them. Basically some of the Dennis Wheatleys and a few of the classic sort of titles like Dracula and Invisible Man and stuff like this. So I've got a few, but not many. Not really a publisher I get into, and I don't really like the feel of the books, so I wouldn't spend time reading them. A143, once again, this is just a reissue of a classic Pelican, and there are Pelican fans out there, but reprints I don't think should be anything more than £1 a pop. Personally, regardless of the subject matter. Sometimes some of the ones which are on like the occult and witchcraft and drugs, they definitely tend to go for a little bit more than your regular Pelican. A385. I think this one's another one which was a reprint. Yeah, as I said, I got this lot in a big job lot, and in the end I've pulled about 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. I got 11 books out of it, and I paid only about a tenner for the whole lot, plus the postage. And I really bought it for a Churchill book, which we'll have a look at in a minute. Yeah, this is another reprint. So all of these like reprint Pelicans will be in my sales, my next sales video, and they'll just be like £1 each, you know, and postage will be pretty much at cost. And as I said, I did send them right around the world, so if you are overseas, you really don't need to matter at all, you know. And this one was a later penguin. Quite a nice subject, this Dictionary of Fairies. This is, you know, it's not a subject that I collect myself, but it is actually quite a nice little subject. And this is actually quite a nice book. This is good condition as well. So I'm certain that'll be of interest to somebody, but it's just not really my thing. But 1977, I don't know, I may end up keeping it because it's such an unusual one, and it is in pretty nice condition. That it's the first Penguin edition of that. It's probably worth a few quid, that one. But let's give these a brush down. Because they're all going to need a good polish. But this will take off the dust for now. So you may have seen on a couple of the videos that I've posted, I recently went away and did some filming on location, which was super fun. And I went up to the Shropshire area. I went to Ironbridge and I visited the Ironbridge bookshop, and that one, that video, my little quick 10-minute tour around the store, a chat with the owner Meg, that video is now live on the channel. And after that I went and visited Tim at his house, and we had a look at his pan collection, which is just incredible. I mean, it's just amazing. I loved it, absolutely loved it. And I managed to film 3 other videos. So we got his collection, then we got some of his rarities, and we got his pan POS, and finally, which I haven't edited yet, I've got a video on his amazing original artwork collection, which is just stunning. So look out for those on the channel coming up. I really enjoyed my time at Tim's place. It was a bit tiring because I had a lot of I did a lot of driving over the course of the 2 days, but it was well worth it. So on my trip to Ironbridge, as I said, I went into the Ironbridge bookshop and I bought some books. So let me just get them out of the Ironbridge bookshop bag here. So here we go. These are the books that I picked up in Ironbridge, and obviously this was in a second-hand bookshop, and there's certainly not many of them around, but these were all ones that were on my wants list, and I was more than happy to buy a few off Meg there on the day, since I was in the vicinity. And I found a few goodies that I've been after for a while, which is always great fun. I haven't had a chance to get to many bookshops over the last few months. I do seem to have been very busy, but there's a few places I realise I haven't been for, well, almost maybe sort of best part of a year now. So maybe they're due another visit. So this is one that I was after, Lawrence van der Post, Venture to the Interior. Now this is one of the ones that came as with the unusual Penguin illustrated covers, which were done under the editorship of Abraham Games. He oversaw the series, and this one's quite fragile, I have to say. It's a little bit fragile, but yeah, it's going to tear if I'm not careful. It is a real rare one, so let me just hold that bit down so I can get the pricing out. Now, these Abraham Games covers, there's about 30 of them in total, and I think I'm only about 3 or 4 short now, so I haven't got many to get. And then when I've got them all, I'll do like a little dedicated video, because I think that'll be quite fun to see them all together. I have got some other bits and pieces that were designed by Abraham Games, not least of which some items on the Festival of Britain, because he famously designed the festival logo. So I'll pull them together as well to give a little bit of sort of historical context about the guy. So as I said, I've got to wait till I get the last few, but once I've got those licked, it is literally, I mean, it may only be about 3, so as soon as I've got them, then that video will be along. Now, I don't think I'm going to be able to go any better on that, because there's actually a little tear there, so where it's obviously been priced and repriced a few times, and as I said, if I'm not careful, I'll just rip the page, the corner right out of position. So I think I'm just going to leave it like that, because sometimes less is more. So anyway, that's that one. These are, I've got some B formats and some A format ones here. This was nice. This is obviously a reprint, but it's Aldous Huxley, who I really like, and it's in the Penguin Modern Classics format, and it was a really minter one. And because I bought quite a pile, they gave me like a 10% off, which was good of her. I think if you buy in bulk, you're allowed to, you're allowed. It's like the unwritten rule, isn't it, in bookselling, that you get a little bit of discount. This is nice, a Henry James that I haven't got at all. So I was pleased to get this one, because the Penguin Modern Classics was the first time it was printed by Penguin. So get the price out of here. So you may have seen my recent video where I had a 2-hour shunting session and I left space towards the tail end of the Penguin run, because that's mainly where I've got gaps, so that's where they're going to be filled in. And the same with my puffins. This is a puffin storybook that I haven't got. 311, I think it is 316, and I'm not sure what my cut-off point is going to be on puffin. I think it's going to end up about number 330 or 360, something like that. But I've got the first 100 complete, and I'm missing just a handful from the second 100. But now when I see ones later than that I've not got, I will pick them up now. There's some good stuff in there. This was a larger B format one. This is a young puffin, so I think all the ones that are young puffins are scarcer because they were for a younger readership, and I don't think they've survived as well, personally speaking. So I think if you see young puffins and they're in nice condition, they're worth picking up, regardless of the title, because their target audience was the under 8s. This one I've sadly got, when I packed it in the bag, it got a bit of a crease in the back, so it's going to take a little bit of time to go to decrease itself. But it is by Michelle Bond, and then you'll obviously recognise. Yeah, very nice. But yeah, it's got that blooming crease that it was my own fault. I did this just in like rush, packing them through the other day. I put it back in, and the bottom, I didn't realise the bottom I got caught. But it will sort itself out, but it's just going to take a bit of time. I'm going to need to, once I've finished cleaning it, I'm going to put it under some weights, and I'll bend it back. So it will leave a crease, but at least it won't be too bad, And I've got all my B formats all sort of kept together in actual fact. And it's sort of, they do look sort of better on the shelf, I think, that way. Devil in the Fog. So a slightly later one for me, yeah. Puffin Storybook 353, I think this one is. A little bit later for my sort of period, but because it's one of the numbered ones, yeah, 353, I did pick it up. 1968, so it's still sort of within it. I mean, I sort of collect up to around 1970. That's my main sort of area of focus. The stuff that I've got that Puffin put out, and Penguin for that matter, after 1970 is generally titles that I'm personally interested in, and they have to be in absolutely top condition for me to warrant keeping them. So I've got like a set of the letters and essays of George Orwell, which was like a 4-parter, a 4-volume set that Penguin put out, I think around 1980. That would be an example of the sort of thing I would keep, because it's an author I love, and I got really nice copies of them, that sort of thing, It's a nice one here. This is a fairly earlier one, 1965, Puffin 238, Richard Parker. Now this one actually was with the Puffins in the shop, but it's actually a Penguin Handbook, PH 45. It's one I've not seen, the Charles World. Now I think the Penguin Handbooks have got that quirky sort of appeal, which I don't mind at all. I think £2. And I like the handbooks as a range. However, I think some of the titles are so obscure, you might be quite pushed to get to get a run together. But I've been offered them in the past dirt cheap, like £1.50, and I didn't really bother with them. And now I think they're actually quite fun and almost sort of unique in a way. So wish I picked a few more up. This one's number 1006, so it's a post 1001, and although I'm trying to get everything pre number 3000 that Penguin published, the earlier numbers post 1000 is sort of where I'm targeting. So if I come to a shop and they've got loads, because there was loads I could have bought in the Ironbridge bookshop, but I didn't want to blow 500 quid or something, so I'm sticking to the ones which are sort of on my current target, like the Puffin storybooks, for example, and these main series titles that are post 1000, and also Penguin Modern Classics. Once again, if they're re-releases, they need to be top shape for me to pick them up. But in most cases, I'm such a fan of the books that were published as Modern Classics that I don't mind having them as different editions, because they'll be the editions that I read, basically. Pocket Library Milano. So this is from Milan. This was interesting. Murder Included. The Tongue-Tied Canary. This is 1005. So another one just post 1000, which I was really pleased to get. I said some of these had just come in, so they haven't even got a pricing. They were literally new stock. There we are. Good stuff. A few little bits of ephemera. We'll have a look at that in a minute. I was pleased to get this one. This is Kestrel for a Knave, Penguin Main Series 2952. I remember having to study this when I was at school, and I didn't enjoy it then. I've since seen the movie, which I thought was excellent, and the book actually is a bit of a classic, and I was pleased to get the first Penguin of this one, because it says scarcity, and it was reprinted heavily, as probably because it was a book that was a school text. So yeah, quite pleased to get this one. Then we got the Victorian Chaise Lounge. Another one which is pretty cool. Not a particularly long book. Looks really interesting though. So we give this one a rub. That's lovely. Right, so we'll sort these into a few little wedges to give the tops a brush off. As always, it's the top edge that has caught the dust over the years. There we are. Now, the B format ones I'll put to one side. That's rather too many, so we'll take a couple off. Give these a brush. Lovely. Give these two a little. Excellent. These are all A formats, and then these two B format ones. as I said, young puffins are scarce, and I believe you should, if you see them, pick them up, because they are quite a rarity. Now, also while I was in the Ironbridge bookshop, she gave me a couple of bookmarks, rather nice, A format, B format, or hardback. I got a little penguin fridge magnet. How lovely is that? That's really nice. That's going to go on my fridge. And then I had this little bit, which I believe was just a little bit of origami, which once again can be used as like a little bookmark. So really, really nice. How great was that? And as I said, if you're in the Shropshire area, Ironbridge in particular, of course, that is the place to go if you'd like, you know, to spend a good couple of hours, because I definitely didn't have enough time when I was there, and I wish I'd had a bit more time to go through everything that the shop had to offer. Now, I got sent this book recently for review, and I've filmed a dedicated review for it, which will be live on the channel probably by the time this video's gone out. It would have gone out this week, I think. And it's a look at The Art of Samson Pollen by Robert Dice and Wyatt Doyle. It's a beautiful hardback, and it looks at the chronological artwork of this particular artist. He had a lot published in the men's adventure magazines, and we'll have a little flick through here so you can see what it's like. Let's see, quite a lavish coffee table book, as you can see. It's fantastic. I've done a dedicated review of it, but I wanted to show it again because this is one of the books that's come in this past month, and I was lucky to get the limited edition copy, which is got a signed book plate by the authors there, and it also came with this still sheet. So this is what the artist would use, in this case Samson Pollen would use, and they take stills of the model in situ, and they'd use these as the basis for the covers of their artwork or interior magazine work. So absolutely fantastic to see. That came as sort of part of the limited edition with this book. You can get this one, and I'll put once again a link down below, direct from the publishers, or of course from Amazon. But absolutely fantastic book, so do look for the dedicated review of that one, because I really enjoyed reading it. Cool, so that's that. Next, we have some more paperbacks to get through. So this is from the job lot again that I picked up, and this was off eBay. It was a non-fiction job lot. It was really, really badly advertised, which was good for me. So I was able to pick these up, as I said, the whole lot for like a tenner. So I do count myself as particularly lucky. And there were a few books that I didn't actually own at all. So I'll have a look at these first. This is the only one in the Pelican series which I've got, which is an AC. I'm trying to remember. Yeah, which is a Pelican classic. So Pelican, the prefix was A, and then AC as in a Pelican classic. And this is the only one of these I've got. There's a few in the run, and they are period. So this is this one dates from 1969, and look at it. It's really, really nice. It is, as they say, a minter. So I was really pleased to get that one. So that was in that lot. These are ones, this pile here are ones I'm definitely going to be either keeping or comparing with the copies that are already in my collection. A684, Victorian people. So on Pelican books, generally I collect up to the first 600, although I've got a smattering of ones after that. So this one here, which is number 684, was published in 1965, and I don't really want to go much past number 600 for the Pelicans, but after that, from about number 450 to 500, the titles get really interesting. Interesting today. They've got photographic covers, which I think are great, and there is a lot of really good titles in there. So I may half-heartedly pick them up, but I'm not going to go out of my way to collect them. I'm going to just try and concentrate on the first 600 or so, the early ones. This is another later one, A741, and these turned up, and because they're in such nice condition and they're first printings, this is 1965 again, I'm not going to get rid of them because they're just nice copies and they'll be absolutely fine in my main Penguin collection. This was one of the books that attracted my attention, so believe it or not, all the way back in about 1990, this was one of the books I picked up, and it was influential in me starting to collect Penguin books, because when I picked it up, this particular one, which is like a reprint of Volume 1 of Churchill's The Second World War 6-part series, I started reading this and I was absolutely hooked, and in the end I went online and I picked up the full set of 6 in hardback, and didn't stop reading them until I got through the whole lot, because they're that good. They're fantastic. But I picked this one up, and inside, and I don't think this one's got the same one, but inside it had a bookmark, like a fold-out bookmark. And this particular book was published in 1960, and it was for Penguin's 25th anniversary. And they really went to town, and and unfortunately they only ever published the first volume in paperback of Churchill's Second World War history, which was such a shame. So I read this one right through, cover to cover, and that's the copy that's amazingly still in my Penguin collection, and I must have read it twice. Now this one is much better than you generally see this book, because it's such a big book that they generally turn up hammered, and the copy that I've got, having been read twice by myself, is also hammered. So this is an upgrade to it, and as I said, inside it had this little bookmark from Penguin, saying we're celebrating 25 years of Penguin books. I thought, oh, that's really cool, and we're doing these like special books, and this was one of them. And I thought, that is amazing, and it sort of planted a little seed about, maybe you're thinking, oh, I wouldn't mind collecting some more sort of Penguin books. And then, I did start picking them up, and then a year or two later, somehow, approaching the time of Penguin's 60th birthday in 1995, I just prior to that, I think it was, I bought I joined the fan club, the Penguin Collectors Society, and well, that was almost 30 years ago, if you can believe it. So, and I've not looked back since. Here is a much later one, a Pelican, and this really isn't my period, but it's like unread. Look, it's got a perfect black spine. It is ISBN, so it's a later one, and it's dates from 1975. So because it fits the criteria that, although it's after my cut-off point, because it's mint and it's a Penguin book, I will actually keep that. I'll put it as part of the collection, because it's a really sort of a nice one now. I've got a couple of specials now. I've got a complete run of the Penguin specials. There's just a couple of very later ISBN ones that I'm missing, but something like this I've definitely got, and I want to I'll clean this one up, and it needs a lot of cleaning, and I'm going to compare it with the one that's already in my collection, and then I'll keep the best one, and the other one will go into my swaps box. So that's why I'm going through these now. Some of these will definitely be spares that I'll have, and I'll put them all into my swaps box, and then next week I'll be able to start filming that video with some new books for sale. So as I said, do look out for that. And this one's looks like a little insect inside. Oh, there we are. Look, a dead something has gone inside the book, which is not so much fun. There we are. I think we've just about got it. It's left a little bit of a mark, but nothing too serious. Better than having a dead whatever it was inside. So yes, that's a little Penguin special, which I shall check on. What's this? This is another one. United Nations Special 214. So as I said, it just came in as part of this non-fiction lot, so I want to just make sure I've got the best copy that I can have in my clone collection, and then I'll sell this one on. Now it's got a big 1 and 6 in pen, and I can't do anything about that, but there's a little pencil mark along there, 400 and something it says, I think. So I'm going to try and give that a little rub out. There we are. That's come out lovely. So we get rid of that there. And the rest of the book, well, it is what it is. It's a typical 60s special. They are notorious for their spines getting a bit faded if they've been in the sun, unfortunately. Another Pelican here. This is one I've got, A515. This is just a double. I'll compare to see which one is the best again. But I think the one that I've got is absolutely mint. I was very lucky in that most of my Pelican collection all just came from one guy who was a friend of mine I used to work with, and he was a big Pelican collector, and I was always a little bit reluctant. I had a few early Pelicans, but I said I don't really know if I can go down that avenue, and also the space that they take up. But he said, look, you can virtually have them, I just want them to go to good homes. So it was I couldn't say no. And this one is in the Penguin reference series. Now I have to check, but this is reference 21, number 21. I don't know if I've actually got this one or not. I can't remember. I've got a few in the reference series, and it's not a series I've ever gone out to buy, especially. I've never taken any off a dealer's wants list. They've all just come my way, and I've got probably about 20 in total. It's from 1967. I think it's probably a really good subject as well, natural history. Nice to have little reference books like this in the home. So that's all the paperbacks. So let's give these a brush down. Some are definitely better than others. But I've not had a chance to get that much because I've just been busy. I've only bought the 2 little lots off eBay the entire month because I've just not had a chance to browse really. Not that that's a bad thing in any way at all, but it's just a reflection of how busy I've been with other things, you know. But it's all good. It's all good. That shunting video that I did, the 2-hour shunting video, that was filmed over the course of 2 days, believe it or not. And I have to do a similar one for my my pelicans, so I probably will film that as well. And that'll be like a shunting mini special. Because I'm going to have to get the whole lot off and swap them around and get the science news out and what have you. Right, so I'm very pleased that the Churchill has lightened itself up because that was quite a bit dusty on the top, but that's still a really nice copy, not unread but still really nice compared to the one that I've read an awful lot of, which yeah, I've read it twice, and if you've never read that series, it's just great. I'm going to do a dedicated video on Churchill's Second World War. I have done one on the First World War, I'm going to do one on his Second World War. There's just one set of editions that I haven't got, so they did get released by, I believe, Cassell, and they released all 6 volumes as a set of 12 paperbacks. So if I pick them up, I think I'll then have it in all the formats that I want to have it, and I'll do a dedicated video. But it's such a big subject. Churchill himself hired a team of people to help with the resources to write it, so I just I don't know, we'll see. Right, I've got a couple of hardbacks, but before we have a look at those, I wanted to also show you another publication that I bought off Amazon. It's from our channel friend Justin Marriott, and this is the Paperback Fanatic, and this was the long-awaited 3rd volume. So he's done one on fantasy, one on science fiction, and this is the horror one. These are designed by Bill Cunningham. Very, very nice, really great, and it's got classic reviews that when you read through these, you're going to want to have a pen and paper handy, because there'll be stuff that you're going to want to think, oh, I've got to track down sort of a copy of that. So there's a little list of the reviewers there, and as I said, this is a horror-centric one, so these are all the books that are reviewed in here, and you'll see some absolute classics that I'm sure you'll recognise, and some modern stuff. You've got some paperbacks from hell. It's really, really great. So there we are. This is a little flick through for your delectation. This magazine is only £6 off Amazon. It's an absolute steal. So once again, like the Samson Pollen book, I'm going to put a direct link to this one and the other 2 in the description down below. And if you do sort of follow those links, you'll be helping the channel out with a little affiliate kickback, but also you'll be supporting Justin and his great publications, because this is just really, really good, isn't it? I'm sure you'll agree. Good stuff, eh? So yeah, that's the Paperback Fanatic. Right, so I've got 2 more bits to show you, and they are in actual fact 2 hardbacks. So let's get the first one of those now. So here's the first one. Now, I am a real fan of Thor Heyerdahl. He was a great explorer in the 1950s, and he famously went to Easter Island, and he wrote a book called Aku Aku, where he sort of uncovered the mysteries of Easter Island. It's absolutely fantastic book. This was the one that came before it. Still very, very good. And this was just the Reader's Union copy, and it wasn't one that I was looking to buy. It just came in that job lot. It's protected. It's Book Society's choice. It's the 9th impression. It literally is there is no collectible qualities at all to this. It's basically the book club edition. It's the 9th printing. So it's nothing to shout home about, except that it's a really, really nice edition to read. It is, however, in a protective dust wrapper, which I'm not particularly enamoured about, so I'd like to get it out of that if possible, but I can see it's going to be quite stubborn. So I'm going to razor it. I think is probably going to be the best way to get this one out, because, as I said, the book has no intrinsic value except as an item to be read, which is absolutely fine. It's not a collectible, it's not a first edition, it's just a really nice copy to read, and this will be the one that I do read. It's really, really nice, fully illustrated, and I think it'll be fantastic. If you've never read Aku Aku, wow, that is another superb book, and I do recommend, if you're at all curious about Easter Island, it is great. And it doesn't really, I mean, I know it was of the time that it was printed, but it doesn't really paint the Easter Island people in a very good light, unfortunately. Almost as soon as Thor Heyerdahl gets close to the island, the inhabitants have swam out to his boat and have climbed up the side and are pinching stuff. I mean, literally, if it wasn't locked down, they weren't helping themselves, should we say. They were just trying to rip off the expedition, which is a bit sad, really. I'm sure it's not like that nowadays, and Easter Island is much more of a, is it a tourist attraction? I suppose it is, isn't it, you know? But it is a bit sad, and this really is, I was hoping, now there we are. That's a real, they put the dust wrapper on really, really snugly, but we've got it out now. So let me just slide this one out off camera. There we are. So yeah, it was quite a good cover, this that they put on, but it was backed with like brown paper. Not so good. So I wasn't too fussed about the brown paper, but the actual dust wrapper itself, there's a little bit out there. It's actually done a great job of protecting it. But as I said, it's only like a little book club edition here. Let's have a look at the actual printing page, shall we? Here we are. 10th impression, January 1951. Look at that. So by this point, it had already sold over 200,000 copies, which is pretty amazing, isn't it, you know? But as I said, these are great travel books. I mean, they really are. This one I only read once, and it was probably 20 plus years ago. Aku Aku I've read 3 times. It's literally that good, and it really, really does come recommended. So do track that one down. Now, as you can see, there's quite a bit of dust along the top there. So I'm going to just go in, because this is a hardback. I'm going to go in here first of all, because the main brush won't get in there, and just get into the tops of the spines. And the bottom there, because that's the fiddly little bits. And then I can go in along that bit and give it a proper dusting, like so. That's much better. Nice cloth boards on this one. As I said, I mean, these books worked out less than 50p each, because there were so many in them. And in actual fact, there was probably another 20 books in the lot, and I just took, which weren't of interest to me in any way at all, and I took those straight to the charity shop. So hopefully they've been able to make some use of them, you know. So there you go. It's got a little name inside, but apart from that, I'm really pleased with that one. In actual fact, I'm really pleased with that. And I'll slip it back into its dust wrapper. I think it looks much better outside of its wrapper than in it, as that dust wrapper was probably put on at the time just to keep it in one piece. And yeah, I think that's quite a nice little one, that. So that's cool. And I have got one other, and this was the book that I actually bought. This was the reason I bought the lot. It was the 1-volume edition of Churchill's Second World War. So let me just raise the camera up a tiny bit there. Yeah, so this was the reason I actually bought this particular job lot off eBay, and it was because of this book. So all the key Churchill books were reprinted by Cassell, and they had like 1-volume editions, and that is what this is. So this is the abridged 1-volume edition of Churchill's Second World War, with a new epilogue of the years 45 to 57. So I've got all 6 volumes in multiple editions, but I've not got this one, and I don't think I've ever read this epilogue before, so I'll have a look and see what that one's like. But it's another huge tome, and I'm hoping it's going to be a little bit easier. Yeah, look at that. It was the same style of cover protection, but thankfully it came off. It wasn't bound so tightly. So there we are. I don't know, I didn't actually check to see if it was a first edition or anything. I'm hoping it is. I've probably had a huge print run this. Let's have a little look. Yeah, look at that. That's lucky, isn't it? First published 1959. Lovely. So this will be a nice little like bookend to my my editions. So I've got, of the Second World War for Churchill, I have got the first hardback editions by Cassell. So 6 of those. Then I've got the first paperback, as you've just seen, the Penguin. Then I've got the what they call the Charterhouse edition. So this was an edition that was sort of in very deluxe binding, and I've got those, and now I've finally got the 1-volume edition. So all that leaves now for me to get is the set of the paperbacks, which, as I said, I think it's a Cassell military series which came out, and they published it as 12 volumes. So I think I'm going to try and track those down, because they're not dear. They're actually quite reasonable when you find them. Listen, I think I saw a set recently for about £15, and when you think brand new, the books are still in print, brand new, each volume is £15 for a large format paperback, £15 for the full set in like vintage paperback. When I say vintage, I mean sort of mid-60s. I think represents excellent value for money. So I shall try and track them down, and then I'll be in a position to do my video of my sort of Churchill Second World War series. I wouldn't mind the American ones, but because I haven't got any American ones in my collection at all, and I just don't have the room for it, it's not an avenue I'm going to go down. But even so, it would be nice to have the American ones, because they've got unique jackets and they are very colourful compared to the British ones. There we are. Let's go there. I think it's got 289. I don't know what that is. Now, I know the wrapper on this one isn't perfect, unfortunately, but I will rewrap it in my own plastic wrap in due course. I've got a little batch of books that are waiting to have the treatment with regards to that. So when I do, I shall definitely film it, because it's been ages since I've put any new hardbacks into a plastic wrap, and I have picked up a few just lately. So that's the actual book as clean as I can get it, and I'm very pleased with that one. I think definitely a nice edition, that's for certain. Now the dust wrapper, however, I think is a little bit the worse for wear. So where you see it's sort of, it's like, ooh, it's like aged and glued. It's like, I don't know, but let's just see if we can get it out without damaging it anymore. Ugh, there are bits of it coming off. Oh no. I can see why it was put into a dust wrapper. But let's just see if we can get it out. There we are. Right. Oh, what a mess. So all these little chips. So it was obviously very fragile at the time. And unfortunately, some of the book, the brown has come off. But let's have a look. See if we can do anything with it. So underneath, well, I've seen worse, shall we say. I've seen worse, but that big bit at the top there, look, It's come out. It's like a jigsaw. It's over there. So that, and I've noticed it has got some fading. The spine has been faded where it's been on the shelf. But apart from that, you know, it's not actually too bad. And I think I could just from behind put a little bit of tape on that, like just to keep it in situ, and it'll be not bad. I mean, for what I paid for the entire lot, I'm honestly not complaining. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to put the cover back on the book, and then I'll put that little bit of the front cover just on the inside, and then I'm going to do a little bit of a repair job on it, but I'm not going to do that today. I'm going to take my time with that one and find and get some nice, because I'm only going to put some tape behind it, I think, just to keep it in situ. So, but that's really actually quite nice. So I'll, yeah, as I said, I'll put this bit of, I'll get it repaired from behind. I'll put a bit of tape on and then just stick it in place like that, which will be fine. And then I'll put a new plastic wrap on it, and it'll be fine. And I'll put that one in there so I remember it's there. And I noticed that the cover is done by Bureau, and that particular artist did quite a few pound covers. Brilliant. So there you go. So that's all the books we're going to see today, all the new books. The last sort of step of the process is for me to go through on the paperbacks and give them a bit of a polish. So let's get that organised now. Right then, so all we're going to do now is go through and give some of these books a bit of a polish. Now I won't spray anything directly onto the books, but I will just spray it onto my duster here. I use my trusty Mr. Sheen. It tends to get through all the main fingerprints and things like that. So I should just do that right now, and then we'll be done for the day. So as I said, not a massive amount of books today, but I think quite an interesting lot. And I will, as I said, I'm going to have a few doubles and stuff, so do keep an eye out in a couple of weeks for my my next sales video, because I did get a lot of orders come in over the period, and I was really sort of a bit shocked by it in actual fact. But I like to give a bargain, and I think when you buy online, for somewhere like eBay, for example, sometimes sellers can be really out of touch because they just don't know what stuff sells for, and that's fair enough, you know. But I'm a realist, and I like to clear my doubles on, because I can put that revenue towards new books, you know. So I like to share the love, as it were, and not go over the top price wise. So lovely, that one actually. So as I said, do look out for that in a couple of weeks time, and be prepared to pounce, and I shall deal with the emails as they sort of come in. But there'll definitely be some bargains in there, and some of the books you see here today will end up in that lot once I've been able to go through and sort out my doubles. Little mark on the back cover there. Oh, yeah, it's got it. Always handy to have a decent thumbnail. I'm just saying. I have been really enjoying picking up these old puffins lately, and they don't turn up all the time, but when they do, it's good to find ones that you're missing, you know. One series I would like to sort of start tracking down, a few of the easier ones at least, is the puffin picture books. I've got about 40, I think, in my collection. I've got a couple of hardbacks, got a couple of the rarer ones, but not many of the really nice early ones, not many, and I'd like to get those, but they are a bit pricey. one, I can't do much with that because it's like a matte cover. This one's a tiny bit later, so this is okay. But if it's like earlier like that, you have to be careful. You can't just put polish on those because it'll damage the front cover. But a little bit later and you're alright to run it over. Yeah, it's the same. It's a fairly early one. I don't know anything we can do with that. This one's okay. Anything sort of mid-60s up, you're absolutely fine. This one sadly has got fading on, but I don't mind because it's only £2, and I think, as I said, I think the Penguin handbooks have got a bit scarce, you know, really do. There we are, so that's pile number 1. Need to put a bit more spray on here, just to keep it groovy. Now this one was a little bit the worst for wear, but I don't think I've ever seen the reprint of this one. I think it's got a different cover, because these Thurber books used to be in sort of B format, but now they're in the reprint. They reprinted it in A format, so I wonder why that was. Who can tell? So while I think of it, one of my patrons, been with me a long time, Matt, has launched a channel on YouTube. It's Matt's Book Nook, and Matt's a big science fiction stroke fantasy fan, and he's done his first video taking a look at why he loves Robert Jordan's The Wheel of Time series, and he also talks about the recent Amazon series as well, which certainly I've enjoyed. So give Matt's channel a like, go and have a look at his really, for a first video, the production values are really terrific, so I think he's really got something there. He just needs to keep coming up with great ideas, because there's I think he'll have a really great audience right from the off. So go over it, take a look at that, show him your support with a sub if you can, and I'm sure Matt will be very grateful. But yeah, I was very impressed with his first video. Actually, superb. As I was impressed with this copy of Shotgun here by Ed McBain. This was an eBay purchase, and it did not disappoint. It's come up in particularly great condition, so I'm very pleased with this one. And I said it's the first, and trying to track down the pound firsts of Ed McBain has proved to be quite difficult in actual fact. So that's actually come up really nicely, that one. Pleased with that. Give these pelicans a bit of a... Oh, that was dirty there on the spine. It's come up nice and clean. These are all really glossy covers, so they come up very nicely indeed. So I think I mentioned once in the past, I don't really know that many people who collect Pelican books, but I have come across a guy on Instagram, and his user ID is Pelican Fetish. And he just puts up a couple of pictures of pelicans every day, and he must have quite a run of them actually. Really must. So if you're in the mood for looking at, and they're nicely photographed as well, so if you're in the mood for some pelican action, he's your guy. I've only done 3 videos now on pelicans on the channel, so of my pelican collection, so they are available should you wish to have a look at those. I did the 3rd one just recently, actually. Brilliant, cool stuff. So moved along a little bit on the duster here to find a bit more of a cleaner bit of patch. We don't want to be rubbing dirt into dirt if we can help it, you know. But I've got the full duster here, so we should be all right. And we'll give this one a little polish. As I said, on the whole, these were such nice copies that this is really the final part of the process, in all honesty, is to just put this little bit of polish along them, and it just finishes them off lovely. Here was that very nice copy of Modesty Blaze. And in fact, all these pans were quite nice, in actual fact. Better than the average copy, shall we say, from the period. And you have to remember when these were actually printed and bought and read, you know, well over 40 years old now in a lot of cases. Sometimes, you know, over 50 years. So for copies to have survived in such nice condition is unusual, and you just don't see them around in this nice condition in the second-hand shops. And something like this, which may have cost me like £1.50, for example, would have been, you know, probably the best part of a £5, even in a reasonably priced second-hand shop these days, just because it's such nice condition, you know. So I always sort of bear that in mind these days when I'm looking at books online, particularly if they're in top shape. That is sort of what I like to look for with my vintage books these days. I like them to be in as good a condition as possible. It's not always an easy thing but to do, and you can be overly picky, particularly if it's books that you just want to read. You know, you got to draw the line sometime and realise that, you know, if you want perfection, you know, you may have to be, you could be waiting forever. And I'm certainly not like that. You know, like this one, it'll do. It's a nice flat copy that's been read maybe once or twice, so I'm more than happy with that one. This copy of Thunderball, although it's nice, as I said, I think I've got 2 copies of it anyway, so I think I've already got a nice reading example. But if I haven't, this one will be in the reading set, because I like these Raymond Hawkey design jackets. They're really good. And this one's got, of course, the 2 bullets in the front there. Good stuff. Right, one more little pile to clean up, and then we'll be done for today, which is a bit sad. But as I said, I didn't go crazy with my purchases because I just haven't really had the time to go out there and look for stuff, and I've only visited one bookshop, and I didn't do bad. I got 10 or so books out of it, or a dozen books, so I do count myself quite lucky. But what I have been doing, as you've seen on the channel, I've been doing lots of cleaning, and I've been lots of sorting of the stuff that's already in my collection, and it really does look all the better for it. And I am pleased that after doing that little sort of shunting session, it's made all that room for me, so I can get to stuff a little bit easier, which is cool. And these really do, on the whole, come up very, very nicely by giving them this little once over. And it's amazing what dirt actually gets lifted off. A lot of it is unseen, you just can't see it. It's just years of grime and fingerprints, and sometimes, you know, cigarette ash has got on it and this sort of stuff, you know. And you think, it's just nice to know that the books that have been through your hands have been given the once over, and they're about as clean as you're ever going to get them. This one, for example, was an absolute minter, unread, from the 1970s. Perfect black spine, it's never been broken, never been delved into, this one, or if it was, very, very lightly. Which is why I will end up keeping that one, because it's just, you know, it's although it's a mid-70s book, it's in such great shape, and they generally just don't turn up like that anymore. So let's get this last pile done. But anyway, I hope you have enjoyed today's video. It's a bit shorter than usual. It's only going to be just over an hour, and that's fine. As I said, it's not been a particularly heavy month, but I've got so much done. I'm really, really pleased. I've had some really great videos on the channel, so if you've missed any of those, particularly the ones where I visit Tim's pan collection, or the ones where I do some sort of shelving and that, do go and check those out. Don't forget, if you like the cleaning side of these videos, I have got a dedicated cleaning channel, which I post one video a week where I clean another aspect of my collection. And I'm slowly but surely working my way through my entire vintage paperback collection. I haven't even started on the hardbacks over there. It's just been paperbacks so far. So do go and check out my unintentional ASMR book cleaning and repair videos, and once again there'll be a link to those down below, because I think I've done about over 50 videos now in total over there, and the channel's going great guns, and the videos are really long, and people seem to absolutely love them. So if you've not checked those out yet, please do, because I think there's even more book enjoyment and book cleaning stuff for you to enjoy. But yeah, thank you very much for watching today. It's been a nice little batch of stuff to do. If you have enjoyed it, please give the video a thumbs up. Leave a comment below. Always looking for ideas. If there's a particular topic you'd like me to discuss in a video, don't be afraid to put a comment down below asking, because I'm happy to discuss it. I've got a few good ones coming up, not least of which books I read when I was growing up. That meant a lot to me at the time, so I'm putting that one together at the moment, but I need to track a couple more down, but that's a really good one. And as always, I shall see you again very soon with another video. There's a little mark on the back there, so just as I thought we were done, I need to give this one a little bit of extra attention just before we wrap up for the day. There we are, it's coming off, whatever that mark was. As I said, this book on fairies was really nice. Get out, there we are. Brilliant. So there we go, that's got that little mark off. So once again, yeah, if you've enjoyed it, thanks very much for watching to the end, and I'll see you again very soon with another video. Bye.